Can embracing minimalism really put money in your pocket?
Welcome to The Fi Guys, with your guide on how minimalism habits can make you wealthy. In today's episode, we'll explore how adopting minimalism can revolutionize your financial journey and lead you towards achieving true financial freedom and fulfillment.
Join us as we uncover the principles of minimalism, share practical strategies for decluttering your life, and discuss how embracing simplicity can accelerate your path to financial independence.
That's awesome. Yeah. I want to get independent.
I want to get independent too, financially.
Yes.
And normally independent.
Normally, yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. Well, we've got a good pod for today.
Yeah. Today we are going to be talking all about minimalism and how it can really help to accentuate the better parts of your life. Unfortunately, I guess too, we live in a society of consumerism where every day, I think there was a statistic that came out in 2019, so it's been like 5 years, but then it was people are bombarded with, on average, 5,000 advertisements a day.
Really?
Yep. And it's gotten worse in the last 5 years, so I'm sure it's even higher than that. But those 5,000 ads are all telling you that you're not good enough. You don't have enough. And if you were to purchase this next thing, that will lead you to be happy.
Dang.
So at the time of recording, we are just getting into spring. Yep. And at the time this comes out, it'll be in the first week of April, where most people decide, hey, it might be time for some spring cleaning. Yep. So I thought it'd be good to talk about minimalism and how we might be able to bring minimalism in to both accentuate your life by addition through subtraction. Yeah. Addition of your life, the values, the thing that lights you up by subtracting some of the things that we have all around us.
Yeah, because the less you have, the closer you can get to FI, correct?
Yeah, it works in a few different ways, right? In that the less that we have, then the less that we need to have in terms of money in the bank in order to sustain our lifestyle. Yeah. So it really helps you in both ways.
Yeah. Well, I would love to start understanding what minimalism is. Yep. I hate to do this, but in our notes, that's literally segment one. It's understanding minimalism. So let's get right into it. Start by defining it, Chris.
Yeah. So minimalism is really a lifestyle philosophy focused on intentional living, in which you prioritize what matters most and then eliminating all excess.
Okay. So it's like, don't overspend, don't overbuy. We've all done it where we buy things and then it's like they're still in the package like 2 months later. Mm-hmm. It's just like, I never used this. Yeah. That's a horrible feeling.
Mm-hmm. At a simple definition, minimalism is owning fewer possessions. Yeah. That's really what it is. It's coming down to just having less. But what it really is being mindful to when you are spending. Yeah. Because like I said, if we're getting bombarded with 5,000, probably even substantially more advertisements every single day, and every single advertisement isn't telling you like, hey, your life's great. Like, keep doing what you're doing. Yeah. Every advertisement is telling you that you're not enough. But if you purchase this thing, then it'll solve it for you. Yeah.
God, that's a terrible... I wish we had... What do you think the world would be like if we had billboards that just told you like every day it's like, you're powerful, you're strong, believe in yourself, just like super motivational? Do you think anything would change?
No, probably not.
Damn.
I really do think that like marketing runs the world though.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. Did you like that show Mad Men? Did you ever watch that?
I never watched it. No.
It was about like marketing, I think in the 50s or something like that, or 60s. Not sure. With John Hamm.
Okay, I know what the show is. I'm just never seen it.
Okay, yeah. I've seen clips of it, and I was like, oh, maybe he likes the show. I don't know.
No, but like marketing, I think, especially here in America, like for us, and I know we have some international audience as well, so I'm not sure what it's like in your country, but I have to imagine it's probably around as bad somewhere. Yeah. Our whole style is all about habitual adaptation. It's to the moment that you remember when you were 16, 17, you got your first car, and like you found this like level of joy in terms of like, oh my goodness, I have freedom, I have all these things. And then eventually you become an adult and that one car now is in your garage, you feel happy about it, but then it becomes two cars because eventually you habituate and you're like, this cars are bringing me joy, so I need two cars. Mm-hmm. You feel happy for a second and then you're like, oh, well, okay, I'm not happy again. Maybe I need a third car. Yep. And you get a third car and maybe it's not cars, maybe it's sunglasses, maybe it's bigger houses, maybe it is whatever it is. But
maybe it's Legos.
Maybe it's Lego toys. Maybe I'm in that same boat.
I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. So who puts toys at the end of it? They're just Legos. They're for all.
They're for all people.
They're for all people. I think everybody has some sense of that. Mm-hmm. Even with starting younger too. Mm-hmm. What's that as a child, like that one toy that doesn't bring you joy anymore, you get tired of it. Wow, mom and dad, I want another toy. Yeah. It's the same. It starts off so young.
And it's even worse now because back in the day, there used to actually be laws against going after kids. Like you couldn't advertise cigarettes to kids. You couldn't advertise things to kids. So what did all companies do? They advertised to the moms and they would say like, hey mom, like your child isn't happy unless you purchase them these things. But now due to the advent of social media, so many kids are on social media, you're able to go directly to the kid again.
Yeah.
And be like, hey kid, you're not happy unless you have this.
Here's a cigarette.
Well, maybe not cigarettes, but like toys and stuff like that. Yeah. So imagine us as adults, you know, we have hopefully a fully functional frontal brain that's finally developed by the time we're like 25 or 27.
One can hope.
You know, we can hope, I guess, maybe. You have that and you're still seeing these advertisements, and so much of us are still falling into the traps of that. Now imagine a kid whose brain is still developing and they're being told the only way that you can find joy, you can find happiness, especially through adolescence when like life's throwing you for a curveball. Yeah. And now they're just telling you like, oh, if you just buy this thing, they're going to be good to go.
Yeah. It's not it at all.
No.
It's the total opposite. Mm-hmm. So what are some core principles of minimalism?
Well, in order to get to that, let me tell you a quote from a minimalist that I met. So this is what they told me is minimalism is intentionally living with only the things I really need. Those items that support my passion, I am removing the distractions of excess possessions so I can focus more on the things that matter most. So the core principles of discovering minimalism really comes down to simplicity, mindfulness, conscious consumerism, and then reshaping the way that your money and your possessions flow.
Interesting. That's a good definition. I like that. I would love to go over that just one more time, honestly, just so that can really like sink in.
Yeah, of course. So the fundamental principles of minimalism includes simplicity, mindfulness, and conscious consumerism. And then the principles are all about reshaping your relationship with money and your possessions.
So when they talk about reshaping your relationship with money and possessions, let's start with the money aspect. Mm-hmm. What do they mean by that?
Well, I think so many people think especially the reason that like I like minimalism for like my finances, it's all about simplicity and just bringing joy into your life. So many people think in order to be good with money, I need to be doing options trading. I need to be do options trading. I need to be shorting a few stocks. Yep. And, you know, I need to be at least doing a little bit of private equity and some real estate and then some crypto. Yep. And minimalism really brings that down to a simplification of just, let's focus on what's the most important thing. Are we making more money than we're spending? Are we investing the difference?
Yeah.
It doesn't need to be this complex thing. 80 to 90% of being good with money has to do with your systems and your habits. Yep. Nothing to do with this financial mumbo jumbo of getting into like every single new fad that comes out.
Yeah. No, it kind of, when you were explaining it on, you know, simplifying your life is minimalism and like not being like in every single thing and trying to be the best at every single thing. It's like, it reminds me of something we talked about on the podcast, I think maybe like 4 or 5 pods back. And we talked about, it's like, well, you could be invested in real estate. You could be invested in stocks. You could be invested in, you know, like you said, private equity or a business or something like that. And it's like, if you just pick one, you can be successful in any of them, but it's hard to be successful in all of them.
Yep.
Especially at the same time. Oh, yeah. You know, if you just pick one and dedicate everything to it, you can be successful in it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think that's one of the things, especially in today's society, is we have a whole load of people, population of people that are just stretching themselves thin, whether that's trying to multitask or trying to do 2 things at once, trying to, you know, be this, be that, be this, be that. And it's not working. Mm-hmm. It's not working at full efficiency.
Yeah.
Even though we think it is, but we're not.
Yeah. And I think, you know, like you said, you focus on one thing, and then as you get good with that, as you start to attain mastery in that one thing, we move on to another thing. But that's the idea of diversification, having multiple income streams. But when so many people are focused on, well, I guess I have to be good at crypto, and I have to at least own like 3 properties, and I need to be doing this, and I guess I need to figure out options trading too. Yeah. Well, now you're trying to spread yourself amongst 10 different ways of making money, and you're failing at every single one of them.
Exactly.
Because you haven't figured out any of them.
No.
You know, and minimalism really just brings it back down to this, like, what's the simplest thing? Can I be good at that? Okay, once I'm good at that, can I add more onto it? Yeah. That's just for minimalism and money, and, you know, just trying to get down into that. We'll have another segment more on that. Okay. And then that even goes more into the possessions as well. Mm-hmm. I mean, how often have we been at a checkout line when we're checking out of the store, and you see like that pack of gum, and you're like, well, I guess I don't have gum in my car, so I might as well just buy that here while I'm here too.
I'm here, the convenience of it.
The convenience of it, and minimalism is really just being here to say that there is another way to live, that you don't need to mindlessly follow whatever your base desire automatically is. You can question, do I actually need that gum? It's just a piece of gum. Who really gives a crap? But how many people, when they're bored, and you can tell me, and I know I've done this for myself, you're bored, you're not feeling so happy, so you go on Amazon. You're just like, no, I don't know what's on it. Let's kind of see what's on the lightning deals.
Yeah.
And then,
dangerous place.
5 minutes later, you're like, oh, well, if I get this right now, and if I buy another thing, it's $25, and they'll have it in my house by the end of the day. And then by the end of the day, you end up with a new multi-tool for your mountain bike that has a whistle on it because, your last one didn't have a whistle on it, and you really needed that whistle.
Yeah. Or sometimes it's like, I haven't mountain biked in 6 years.
Yep.
Why do I need this?
Why do I need this? Well, it was a lightning deal that was, 30% off if I bought it right then and there.
Yeah. And buy it on the hope that you'll get back into it when in actuality you never needed it in the first place. Yeah.
So by embracing minimalism, we can start to have this break between stimulus and response, between stimulus of, oh, I want this thing, and the response of, I buying it. Minimalism can really be that buffer in there that gets in there and says like, do I really need this? Am I really going to use this? Or is it going to be another piece of crap that is sitting on a shelf somewhere?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I think one of the things that really excites me about minimalism is only buying, and this is something that I already do now, it's like only buying stuff that I need, and it goes back to those like days when it's like, okay, you have X amount of chips in your, on the table, you can only spend so many chips towards this, so many chips towards that. And it's like, you don't want to, go into debt buying things you don't need. So I know for me, like, I'm very conscious about what I spend, and I'm very good at not spending any money on like Amazon or anything like that. I will say though, it can happen still though. It can happen. I know for me, like one of the things since I moved, in the office, there's no acoustic paneling, and I wanted to get some more acoustic paneling, but it's very expensive for the whole wall. And on TikTok, I know you don't go on TikTok, but they have this TikTok shop. Okay. And they hit me with like a 50% discount.
Oh, they got you.
Yeah. And then, because I know for like one set, it's like $45, and I need like 3 or 4, 5 boxes. And I got like a bunch of it on sale, which was really nice because it would have been like 100 plus. I got it for like $50. So I'm like, oh, well, that's nice. Because I needed it. And it's like, I wouldn't have bought it if it wasn't on sale. But since it was on sale, I bought it because I did need it. But it's like.
But I think that's okay. And when we talk about minimalism, it's not saying like minimalists have nothing. Like you can't have, if you want to call yourself a minimalist, like if you have, like you only have one cup, you have one plate that also doubles as a Frisbee for fun. And your lawn chair. Like that's all you have. Like that also sounds like a bachelor pad to me, but
it does.
But like, that's not what minimalism really is. It's making sure that the things you bring into your life actually add value. And and will those sound panels add value to the quality of your life? I really think so. I mean, for majority of people, probably not having sound panels, you're going to do nothing. But you're a streamer. That's going to help with your
audio.
Yeah, the audio.
Plus the visuals. When I walk in, it's a place that inspires me again, rather than just being like a blank wall. I mean, you remember, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but you remember the old studio where it was like, oh, wow, I spent years cultivating this beautiful room. And now I've gone back to just like a blank room.
Yeah, it's just a white wall.
Yeah, I'm like, this sucks. This friggin' sucks. So yeah, now I'm cultivating that space to bring me inspiration, motivate me to become my best self,
and bringing yourself joy. Like that's the most important part of minimalism. I mean, how many times have we all like got out and like bought a t-shirt? You're like, that's a nice t-shirt. And then you buy another t-shirt, another t-shirt, another t-shirt. And then you have 60 t-shirts, but you only wear 3 of them.
Yeah. I think that's one of the funny things is like whenever I do laundry, I'm like, everything else in my closet, you didn't want to wear that? Like, what's the deal here? You know, clearly you don't like this stuff.
They clearly don't like this stuff. So maybe, and then unfortunately the thought becomes, well, maybe I just need to get new stuff.
Oh, I see. I never thought that one.
I don't think that very often either, but I think that's what a lot of people do think. It's like, oh, well, like, these things aren't bringing me happiness, but maybe the next piece of art, maybe the next article of clothing, the next bike, the next whatever it is that my niche is. I mean, I can think of myself when I was a lifeguard. Everyone was all about Oakley sunglasses.
Yeah.
And like everyone would buy new Oakley sunglasses. It would be like, look at these new ones. Like this has this color O and the lenses are this and whatever. And I would go out and buy Oakley sunglasses to kind of keep up with everyone else to fit in. Yeah. And was each Oakley sunglasses progressively better than the last Oakley sunglasses? No. It was the exact same sunglasses.
Same glass.
I mean, shit, I still own like 6 pairs of Holbrooks.
Yeah.
Like, they're the exact same sunglasses, just different O's, different lenses, different colors on it. Yep. And none of them brought me any more joy than the first one did.
Yeah, that's America for you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you got to fit in.
I guess you do.
You got to fit in with the popular kids.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But do you really need to? And does purchasing those things really actually get you to fit in with them?
You know, I think that's a really tough debate, because you could make the argument where it's like, well, if I got the sunglasses, it brings me joy because I appreciate fitting in. Mm-hmm. So you attach like this emotion to the purchase, which kind of justifies it. But it's a deep rabbit hole we could go down.
Okay, I understand this. I'll give you that one. Okay. The first sunglasses you buy, it brings you joy because now you're fitting in. What about the second set that you buy?
Yeah.
When does the third set, problem? Or the fourth, or the fifth, or the sixth? At that point, we're getting very diminishing returns, and now we have 6 sunglasses.
Yeah, yes.
There's no one wearing 6 sunglasses at any point of time.
That would be foolish.
Yeah, you have one in here, one in your head, one in your front, one in your back shirt.
Yeah. One for your buddy.
One for your buddy just in case.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. Yeah.
But that's all that minimalism is. I'm not here to tell you to get rid of your shit or to do any of it or to destroy your sunglasses. Yeah. But by intentionally living, by actually being able to say like, maybe I don't need these things. It is like the Western modern day Buddhism.
Yeah.
Of, do I really need more? And am I just creating my own suffering by believing if I got more, I would finally attain happiness?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's it. So I say we move on to segment 2, which is minimalism and financial independence. How can minimalism actually help us on our path to FI?
It's my 2 favorite topics.
So that's 2 favorite topics, minimalism and FI. I mean, we are the FI guys.
Exactly.
So simplicity and financial freedom. Mm-hmm. There are ways that actually streamlining your finances, like we just talked about, can actually help to make you more money. Mm-hmm. Instead of working on so much complexity, if we need to do all these 10 things, if we just really focus on the simplest of things, which is, am I bringing in more money than I'm spending? Then I'm going to be on a pretty good path, regardless of what I'm doing after it.
Absolutely.
Because how many people do we know that are focused on 20 different things of making money, and they have no idea how much money they're bringing in? They have no idea how much they're spending, and they've never simplified it down just to the 2 simple things: how much money I'm making, how much money am I spending?
Yeah.
Minimalism is on that side of the ledger. How much money am I spending? We've done so many podcasts on how to make more money. Yeah. This is the podcast that's dedicated to how do we spend less money? How do we focus on that side of the ledger?
Definitely. And definitely. Interesting. One thing to go with simplicity and financial freedom, and not so much the freedom part, but the finance part, is getting things like, dare I say, the age-old app that had died, Mint, or getting stuff like Rocket Money or Copilot, different apps to help simplify and make sense of the madness. Because I know sometimes finance can be really overwhelming, especially when you have, I have my stocks in this account, I have my bank over here, I've got my, high yield savings over here. It's like, well, I don't know, I've got 20 over here, I got 30 over there, I got 15 over here. It's like, well, I don't know. It's like,
what do I have? Am I doing good? Am I doing bad?
Tell me something. I don't know what's going on. I know for me, like, I've been using Rocket Money since it switched from Mint. And I really like it. And it's helped me really get a better picture. And it's funny. I actually had a credit card on there. I was like, I don't recognize this credit card.
No.
Yeah. So got it handled. Everything was good. But yeah, I mean, simplicity, especially with your finances, is key.
Yeah.
Keep the mind clear.
Yeah, so it keeps the mind clear, allows you to focus on what's important. That's just one way that minimalism can help. The next thing what minimalism helps is it actually helps to reduce expenses. Because if we're actually questioning our do we need to make this purchase?
Yeah.
Well, hopefully, majority of the time, you're going to realize, oh, maybe I don't need that extra thing. That's what it comes down to, like my Amazon 3-day rule. If you really want something on Amazon, rather than just saying like, oh, it's in a lightning deal, like I guess I really need it right now, you just wait 3 days. Yeah. You break that response between stimulus and response, and you realize, ideally, most of the time I found that after 3 days, when you go back to look at that purchase, like, oh, I guess I really didn't really need that. And you decide not to get it.
I'm curious, you know, like the psychology aspect of it and everything, and you know, like, rich and poor, and you've been, on the lower spectrum of poor and on the higher end of rich and, wealthy and whatnot. I'm just curious, do you think having more money makes it more prone to overspending, or does it matter if you're like have a lot of money or don't have a lot of money?
The fucked up part is, I think having less money makes you more prone to overspending.
Interesting. Wow.
Because, and this is just from my standpoint, right? I can only speak from my experience. When I had less, I was constantly looking for the dopamine hits. I was constantly looking for that like one little thing that would bring me joy. And a lot of that was, I wasn't making big purchases. Like I wasn't buying a car or anything every weekend, but you know, you make 16 little purchases, you know, that was only under $10. And now we just spent $160 on 16 little purchases rather than, but would I spend $160? Probably not. Even with the money I have now, I'm not going to go and spend like $200 on something, but I can very easily justify spending $10 20 times on little individual purchases.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah. I was just curious about that because I could see like, you know, someone having more money. It's like, well, I'm going to buy everything I never got a chance to buy when I was younger.
And I had that experience as well, where I did the exact same thing. I remember being on Amazon, being on Groupon. Back when Groupon was a big thing, and like being on all those things and like looking around, trying to think like, oh, what blender is like my blender? Like what blender represents me as a man? Like, you know, and you're asking these like stupid asinine questions that really mean nothing. You know, I remember when we first furnished our first house, like you go into the house, you're like, well, I guess I need a carpet. You walk into a blank room, right? You're like, I guess I need a carpet. And then once you get a carpet, well, I'm going to need dishes. And then like what dishes represent me and how many plates does one need? And I guess if you get plates, you need bowls. You need bowls, you probably need to get this. And then after a little while, you're like, I have my carpet, but my carpet was only there. So I probably need one of those like long rug thingies. That's a runner. I need runners, but probably 2 runners. And you end up down this rabbit hole. And then by the end of the day, you end up realizing that I've spent substantially more money than I even have in order to fill up crap that no one's seeing but me.
Yeah.
And like, that's what minimalism can help to fix, is to question, do I really need all of these things?
Yeah, that's fair.
And if you decide that you really do, that's totally fine. But from a standpoint of financial independence, we're able to reduce our expenses, and it gives us a double whammy in that we're also amplifying our savings rates.
Interesting.
Because we're spending less, right?
Yeah, no, 100%. So that goes along with mindful spending. Interesting. Yeah. I think, can you be born with mindful spending, or are you born with nothing? You know, you kind of you have to be programmed.
Well, that's the age-old debate of nature versus nurture, right?
Yeah.
And I think it's 50-50.
Okay.
Like I think I was born a natural saver.
Okay.
Like I think I came out of the gates natural saver. I was very lucky in that regard.
Same.
But yeah, I definitely think that it's something that you could be mindful of. You know, even a natural saver as ourselves are, we could very easily be prone to just going out and spending all of our money if we're not thoughtful on it.
Yeah. I think, you know, for us, it's like, it takes the right site. It takes the right deal to come along.
Oh yeah.
Oh, we could get in trouble.
Yep.
We could get in trouble for this one. I never took pleasure in just spending money.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Well, there are some people that do, and that's okay. Like if that's you, if you're listening, you're like, I love just spending money. It's my thing. And that's totally fine. I think that's great. But at some point we need to see, is my spending right now aligning with my long-term goals?
True.
And if they aren't, you can either decide, well, my long-term goals aren't that important to me, and I want to fulfill the short-term gratification. Or you have to decide, can I make it a 50-50? Like, how can we figure this out so that I can have both the joy that I have today and the long-term goals that I'm shooting for? And I think that when people embrace minimalism, and you start to see that we can actually add more joy, more happiness, more contentment by subtracting needless items out of our life, you actually see that maybe it wasn't the items that brought us the joy. Maybe it was something else.
True. That's true. So do we have any like strategies to become more minimalist? I'd love to get into some practical stuff.
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
There's always like different ways. I think the best way is like, first off, let's talk about the finances, then we'll talk about like the things. So for finances is like, we really need to just simplify our life and focus on how much money we're bringing in, how much money we're taking out. And then from there, like, can we automate our billing payments? Can we practice conscious budgeting? Like, or do we actually have a spending plan? Do we have systems and habits in place in order to keep us on track?
Yes. I love that word, spending plan. I love that. It's way better than budget.
Yeah, budget. That gross B word.
Get that out of here. That B word out of here. Okay, so keeping it simple. You know,
that's what minimalism is. It's keeping it simple, right?
Yeah.
And there was a lady, Marie Kondo. She was the lady from like Tidying Up, where she was like, just focus on what brings you joy. And what brings a lot of people joy, from what I found, like, isn't analyzing stocks. It's not doing option trade. It's not doing all those things. It's spending time with their family. It's making meaningful connections. It's doing a good job at work and like trying to attain mastery there, making more money, and then seeing at the end of the month that like, oh, I have more money than what I brought in.
Yeah.
By focusing on my savings rate. That brought them so much more joy, like seeing that number, that account growing, rather than like, oh, I'm doing like these 20 other things that are supposed to bring me money, but for some reason aren't working yet.
Yeah. No, 100%. I think that's the move. That is it. Doing what brings you joy. I think a lot of people need to take a step back and just take a look at what they're spending their, not just money on, but time on, you know? For me, obviously, I love it. Love spending it with family, friends, and building a good community. And yeah, I mean, whatever it takes to just do more of that to make me even more happy.
Yeah, I mean, how many times do people go into a job and they work a job that they absolutely hate, just trying to get the next promotion, thinking that, oh, if I just get this promotion, make more money. If you ask an average American at what rate of wealth will you be happy, everyone says like $30,000 more. So if you're at $30,000, then I'm at 60. If you ask a millionaire like how much to be happy, they'll say $2 million.
Yeah.
Like no matter how far you think you need to go, you're never going to actually achieve that magic number where you feel you've done it, because that's the whole thing of habituation. We as a species have evolved to never be completely satisfied. That's the thing that keeps us running, that keeps us moving, that kept us alive when we were on this.
Kept us innovating.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was innovating, but like we have a 10,000-year-old brain in a modern day body.
Yeah.
You know?
True.
We have basically a monkey brain that is worked and was evolutionarily bound in order to get us to constantly survive, to adapt, to pass our genes on to as many people as we possibly can. But now we live in a society of abundance.
Yes.
Well, we don't need that anymore, but we're still working on this exact same operating system.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a tough cycle to break. It's a very tough cycle to break, you know. I was just going to say something stupid. I can still imagine my ancestors just running after squirrels and cows and like getting berries and whatnot. I could see it now, but, no, yeah, I mean, decluttering everything and, you know, always moving forward, and it's the best way to live.
But it's tough too, because remember, like we have 10,000 years of evolution that you found that berry patch. Like, it is your like obligation, if you found that berry patch when you were like a long time ago, that you ate every single berry that was there. But nowadays we're not in that situation. No. But people are still under that same exact operating system of, like, that's why when people go to the buffet, like they freaking go crazy. Yeah. Even though they know like this buffet isn't the last meal I'm going to have. No. But you have all this food, like there is a non-rational part of your brain that says that. It's the exact same thing when people walk into Target.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah, it's the exact same thing as people go into Target and they have, or whatever shopping place they like to go, and you see this abundance of everything you could possibly have, and there's a thought, not even a conscious thought, but there's something in you that says like, we must take all of this right now because we don't know when we're going to need it. How many times have you purchased something with the thought of just in case? Yeah. How many times have you kept something that you have not used for a year or 2 years for just in case?
Yeah, that's exactly. Yeah, that one fits me a lot more. The just in case one, like, you know, we just got finished doing some wood projects in the backyard and there was a lot of scrap wood, and it was just like, well, it's good wood, so I'll keep it for later just in case I need it. Yep. It's like, so that one really hit home for me. Yeah. Yeah.
I've always liked what I've done. So there's a bunch of ways where we can like help with consumerism. One thing that I like is the 1 in 1 out rule.
Okay, what's that?
So say like I need a new t-shirt for whatever reason. If I want to get a new t-shirt, I need to get rid of a t-shirt. Gotcha. So 1 in 1 out. And I think it's really helped me a lot with making sure that I'm not just mindlessly purchasing things, because that means I have to get rid of something. And if I have to question if I'm getting rid of something, then I'm actually have to ask the question, is the thing that I'm have to get rid of not serving its purpose? What's the purpose of the shirt? It's to cover my torso. Yeah, like,
that's true.
If I buy another t-shirt, is my t-shirt that I have to get rid of, was that not fitting the bill? Was it not covering my torso? Yeah. Like, no, it was doing just fine. Like,
is it a crop top? Like, what are we talking about?
It was just fine.
Didn't cover the belly button?
Yeah. Yeah. So that's my 1 in 1 out rule. Another rule that really hits home for me, which you just said right there, it's my 90-day rule, 90-90. So have I used this item in the last 90 days? Ooh. If the answer is no, then I ask my second question, will I use this in the next 90 days?
Ooh.
If the answer is no, and the item is under $90, I'll get rid of it.
And it's under $90. Okay, cool. Yeah, because I was like, I got a good. I don't know if you know this, but I love suits. Mm-hmm. I have a good amount of them, and I don't wear them often. I don't have a reason to wear them. Like, you know, I drive to the gym, I drive to the grocery store, we drive here to record the podcast. Mm-hmm. It's pretty much it. You know, I'm not doing anything too fancy these days, and I haven't worn them in a good time.
Do they still fit?
They still fit.
Okay.
Yeah. I might have to get a few of them tailored a little bit because I'm bulked up a little bit. Also, I'm bulked up in the stomach a little bit, so the pants would be an issue. But yeah, no, I like that rule, the 90-90
rule. And I mean, you can adjust that to be whatever you want. You can make it the 20-20-20 rule. You can make it the 100-100-100 rule. Mm-hmm. I use 90-90-90 because I think it sounds good.
Yeah, 999.
Yeah, 999.
Yeah.
But yeah, and if you haven't used it in the last 3 months, if you don't see yourself using it in the next 3 months, that's 6 months of the year.
Yeah.
And it's cost less than $100, just get rid of it.
Yeah.
And I can think of maybe like 3 times in my life that I have gone out and had to repurchase something for that just in case moment.
Interesting.
You know, because most of the time you just make do. If you don't have what you thought you needed, okay, it's okay.
Yeah, it's fine.
It doesn't really matter.
That's what it is.
It is what it is. And then, you know, you continue to embrace minimalism by not going and purchasing the thing that you thought you really needed.
Yeah. I'm like, say that one more time. I was like, whoa.
Like how many? I just think like I just got back from Bora Bora, and on board when we went to Bora Bora, we're just like, hey, we're going to go snorkeling a lot. Like we should probably buy new snorkel things and like new fins and all these other things. Mm-hmm. But then I thought to myself, like, well, we go vacationing to like tropical destinations like twice a year. Mm-hmm. Is it really worth going and spending $300 on all new snorkel equipment for me and my wife and all this stuff for 2 times a year for like 10 days out of the year?
Yeah.
Or can we just use the stuff that we have that we know works?
Yeah.
Might not be the newest, best things, but we know that they work.
Yeah.
Like, what is a snorkel? It's a fucking straw.
It's a straw, and you get some glass.
It's a straw with glasses.
That's it.
So we decided not to do that, and we had, like, I don't think our trip to Bora Bora was diminished in any way, shape, or form by not having new snorkel equipment.
Yeah. That's fair. I like those rules. So let's go a little bit beyond material possessions for this next segment. Talking a little bit about emotional decluttering.
Yeah.
Let's get into that.
Yeah. So I think that one of the hardest things is people don't notice that as you add more items into your life, those items begin to own you.
Okay.
Think about so I know you will drive like your old car.
I love my old car. Big shout out to any Buicks out there. And any grandfathers that still drive the Buick.
Yeah, we're all together.
Yep. Yeah.
But if you were to purchase a new car, car that you always wanted,
sure,
you have that car. Now you start to hoard that possession, and you can't even like really have as much joy around it because now that item owns you. Now you're concerned about, oh, what if it gets dinged? What if I go out and get it hurt? Maybe I should just like keep it safe inside of my garage forever.
Interesting. I might be wrong on this.
Okay.
I might be wrong because I have yet to buy the dream car. I'm still on the Buick, baby. And you know what? That car will have to die for me to get another car. Mm-hmm. I can't turn my back on that car. I love that car. And all of its quirks. But it's like, for me personally, like when I do get that dream car, whether it's an Audi R8 V10 Plus, 210 miles an hour, you know, that version of that car that they don't make anymore, as I die inside. For me, it's just like life is to be lived, and I don't want to spend a second keeping that thing in the garage. I don't care if it gets a scratch on it. Like, I don't care if it gets a ding on it or anything like that. Like, I want to enjoy the car. I want to live life, and life is messy sometimes. Life, you're gonna get some scratches. You're gonna get some bruises. You're gonna break some bones sometimes. Hopefully not soon. But yeah, I know for me, I don't know if it's the stoicism practices or how I was raised, but the emotional detachment to the negative and the emotional attachment to the positive has always been my way of life.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I would pose it to our audience member then and say, like, do you feel the exact same way? Because I feel like majority of people, they have an attachment to their material possessions. Mm-hmm. Such an attachment that, like, where you said the emotional detachment, the emotion was to having fun and to living your life with joy. Most people have their attachment to the item itself.
Interesting. Yeah, no, I mean, I tie my happiness to my actions.
Okay.
You know, and to my personality and the people I'm around. So, I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, if you know, if I accidentally like put my hand through this computer and it just got destroyed, I'd be like, damn. Oh, that's unfortunate. You know.
And maybe you don't realize how grown up that is, or like how evolved that is, where most people, their joy, their happiness is enveloped in status symbols or societal expectations.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the ancestors are hopefully looking down on me right now, just watching me play it out. Hopefully they're not looking up at me from hell.
From hell.
You know, so, but yeah, I mean, I'm living my life, and I feel like everybody should live their life the way that they wish to live it, but also be okay with the consequences of how you live it. Because it's not enough for me to just say, yeah, do whatever you want. It's like, sure, I mean, I can drive 200 miles down the road, but it's like probably going to kill myself or go to jail or kill someone else. It's like, no, that's not what I'm saying. Yeah. You know, live a happy life, live a fruitful life. And I feel like like what we talked about, the mindfulness and the emotional decluttering, it plays a huge part in my world. And I know I'm a very religious person, so I just give it up to a higher power and say, you know what, take care of this. You know, it's not as serious as I believe it to be. And I know sometimes the emotions can hijack your day, hijack your moment. But just like you said, like taking a step back and just breathing for a second, just declutter the mind, just take a deep breath, just relax. You know, everything's not as serious as you think it is sometimes. Sometimes you're overthinking it.
Yeah. And I think like and we're probably not, like, you and I were both minimalists. So having a discussion as to where someone else, like maybe our audience member, is a maximalist, where like we say less is more, but they might be saying, well, no, more is more.
Yeah,
like less is more does not make sense. Like more is more. So maybe both of us having the same exact, like, we're trying to argue from a maximalist end, but we don't see the world from that view. So it's difficult. But I think for some people who maybe are maximalists, who believe that like more is more, learning how to let go of excess baggage can actually create space for clarity, purpose, and fulfillment. Yeah, that they might not be having right now. You and I, we feel that. Like we already have that because our items don't own us. No. We own our items, and every item that we bring into our life brings us joy. I mean, right off camera, like I have a bookshelf of like random silly toys from my childhood that like each one of them brings me joy. Like I like they bring me memories. When I get to like from my office that's right over here off screen, when I get to turn on a Zoom meeting and meet with a client, and they get to see like right behind me are these things that like bring me joy, and they get to like, oh, like this guy's probably into Star Wars, and he, like maybe he plays guitar, and he like likes Buddhism maybe. And like there's a podcast microphone up there, like what's that about? And then these are all like questions and status symbols, like where most people are looking for like status symbols of like, oh, look at like this thing cost this much money. None of that costs anything. No, but every single one of them is a story about me. You know, something that brings joy to me and only me alone. You know, and you can't come in and say, oh, that's stupid, you don't need that. Because it
means something to you.
And the same thing, I can't go into your house and be like, that's stupid, you should get rid of that.
I'd be like, got that from my grandma. 2004.
2004.
No, I get that. And I hope we're not being like hypocritical in a sense of like attaching emotional value to items versus having the items own us. It's like, when do you think is sentimental value too much?
I think sentimental value is too much when you have, so my grandma recently passed away. She passed away in November. In order for me to like represent my grandmother, I have a photo of her here in my bedroom, and her husband. And then we have like one thing of hers. I don't know actually even where it is anymore. Some jewelry. My wife has some of her jewelry. So, and she wears that. Now, do I need to have all of my grandmother's jewelry, her hairbrush, all this other stuff, or can I just have one thing that represents her? And to me, it's just one thing. But if you're listening to this, you're like, no, like I need to have the boxes of like every single memory and all these things, and that's what you think, that's cool too. I sometimes think that a lot of it though is just a memory starter, because you can remember, like, oh, I remember when she wore that necklace, I remember that thing, I remember that smell, I remember this. But a photo of that thing could also do the exact same thing.
True. Yeah, that's true. I think that's more than fair. I think there is power in physical, but I think there is also great power in the photo and in videos and stuff like that. And I don't think you take too many photos, but I know for me, like photos and videos, I think 20,000 photos on my phone.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm not a big photo guy, but I'm always glad that my wife is. Like, even though while we're traveling and stuff, she's like, oh, we need to take photos. I'm like, no, I hate this.
Yeah.
I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
But when we're done with the vacation, we're done with the trip, then I'm like, I'm really glad that we stopped and took those photos.
Absolutely.
Like, those are the memories that we have. So I'm glad that other people take photos for me.
100%.
Because I'm not good at it.
100%. You know, it's interesting looking back on photos, and we'll get back on the minimalist in a second, but looking back on photos that I've taken, I'll go through them and I'll be like, I don't even remember this trip. So if I don't remember the trip essentially never happened. But I have these photos and I have these memories of, say, like when my mom and I, we spent 10 days in Disney World. You know, we went to every park twice. And, you know, I would have forgotten where we ate at Epcot, but I took photos of it. I took videos of it. I got our reactions. And that's just how I love to document things. And hopefully maybe when I'm like 80, I can put together all the photos and videos and be like, this is the highlight reel of my life, man. It was great.
That's our future AI voice.
Yeah. Dial me and make me a movie. I bet that will happen.
Yeah.
100%.
I think that's beautiful though, because I think so many people, they think memory is this like perfect time reel of like watching a movie, but it's not. It's remembering, you remember what brings you emotional resonance. So obviously the lunch that you ate at Epcot on day 3 brought no more emotional resonance than probably what you ate on the first night when you got there.
Yeah.
But you're able to go back and relive that moment with photos. Now I'm saying that, but you remember going and like having the trip with your mom, like without the photos there.
Yeah.
Now the photos are definitely a amplifier. They're great to have.
Yeah.
But are they 100% necessary? That's up to you to decide.
Yeah.
I would say for me, like it's not worth it to have to like stop for taking photos. It's not worth stopping the joy that I'm having in the moment to document it, to have it again in the future.
Yeah. I think for me, looking back on the happy moments of the past helps me go towards more happy moments in the future.
Okay.
That's how I see it. And I don't remember like the little details oftentimes. So I often have to document them, and I prefer to document them. Don't worry, I'm not losing any of my brain power or anything like that. But it's just, I just love capturing moments.
Okay. Might I ask what it is that you get from remembering or like from documenting the little moments when you go back and you're like, oh yeah, I had like, it was green beans with that lunch. Like, what does that do for you?
Yeah. So it wouldn't be so much like taking random pictures of like, oh, this flower's pretty. This thing is, the green beans were good. It's like, it's more of like memories I want to remember.
Okay.
Right. So green beans, it'd be like, I can go get green beans any day. You know, they're not that special. Yep. Unless I was having it with my grandmother and it was the last time we were having green beans, you know? And something like that where it's like, I'm not always going to remember the exact details of, you know, her face or her like eye color or her laugh or her smile. And it's like, sometimes you just want to like go back and hear someone's voice again. You know, that's how I feel it. That's how I really connect with video and photo and stuff like that. Especially with like the new iPhone, they have this spatial recording. It's really weird. It's really bizarre. It's rather than like, it just looks different than anything you've ever seen. It's really weird. I encourage everybody to like look it up. It's almost like a 3D like video. It's really bizarre. And you can do it with like the Vision Pro as well. But yeah, I love the idea of capturing memories that no one else got to experience, but because of it, more people can experience it.
Okay. Might I ask you this? Because this is going to kind of move into the next part of, you know, practicing like mindfulness.
Okay.
When we're maybe even decluttering.
Okay.
So currently you have like 20,000 photos.
Yeah.
Do you think you could find the same amount of joy? So let's say you're Epcot. You have 1,000 photos just from Epcot.
That's probably accurate.
Would you have the same amount of joy from those 1,000 photos if you were to whittle them down to 5 photos?
I think for me, the more memories I can collect, the better.
Okay. But do you ever like lose? But like now we're losing. Like there you have 1,000 photos. You're never gonna like just walk through 1,000 photos every single time you want to remember. Rather than focusing on those 1,000 and like getting diminishing joy every time you swipe because you're like, oh, it was on the photo I wanted. you bring it down to 5 photos that you know are like, these are my favorite photos. And these are the photos that are going to remind me of that time and be enough without 1,000.
You know, I think that's the thing. It's like, when is enough enough? Mm-hmm. Because for me, it's like, if I have those 5 photos and I've memorized the little details about those 5 photos, that's all that there ever will be. You know, I can't make more of them because that time has passed. You know, that era has passed. For me, I don't delete photos very often.
Okay.
I don't take bad photos very often either, though. So,
because I'm so beautiful.
I'm so beautiful. So the subject is just amazing, you know. No, that's not it at all. I actually take really ugly photos of myself and with my family and stuff like that. It's just something that we do. I could see where you would, in your mind, in your world, it would make sense to delete the photos and only have the ones that are the most special to you. And I get that. I think for me, it might be the most special right now, but I'm always going to want, and this is like the American way, or might just be the human way, I'm always going to want more.
Yeah.
I always want, it's like someone you might have looked up to as a kid. We'll go on Charlie Munger, right? Okay. Wouldn't it be so cool if Charlie Munger had a video series and a camera crew documenting his entire like series, his whole life, like up until like when he started his business and he told Warren Buffett about the different investing styles rather than, you know, just picking up, you know, the
nuggets.
Yeah, the nuggets, yeah, and everything. And like, I think that would have been so cool.
But would I value his words that much anymore, knowing that I have full access to his life? Or would I now value what I do because I only have the nuggets that he left us to be like, wow, those were so powerful. Now you get to work and digest on that rather than having, I don't know, mazillion hours of lifetime footage I have to now walk through to figure out. So the reason I bring this up, I'm not trying to like psychoanalyze.
No, you're good. Go for it.
The reason I bring this up is for you, it sounds like digital detoxification might be an issue, but where we're talking about like, oh, we're both minimalists, so it's hard for us to figure this out. You're a maximalist on this end.
Yes.
In this topic. So imagine like that, imagine having that feeling, but now put it onto physical items in the real world. That is where the majority of Americans are.
Yeah.
And, you know, for me, I'm just saying that there is another way that you don't have to be that. You don't have to attach emotional resonance to the 1,000 photos. You can attach emotional resonance to the 5 photos and still have everything that you want in that you still have the memories of it. Maybe it's not as detailed, but now those 5 photos, you really, really have joy in those 5 photos. You know, like those 5 photos are it. Like that's the bee's knees. This is it. Rather than having 1,000 photos. Yeah. It's the exact same thing for people like in their kitchen and they have 1,000 different items, 1,000 different sets of plates and knives and all this other stuff where could I just have like four spoons and I love these spoons.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I get that. I think there's almost a delusion with having too many, like if I had 500 spoons, right, I'd be like, how many spoons are you going to use? Yeah. Like you could use almost 2 spoons a day and never have to wash. I mean, practically it could be the move, but
it could be the move.
It could be the move.
National Independence, buy 500 spoons.
Buy 500 spoons. Yeah, exactly.
And don't use water to wash them, and now we're saving money.
Exactly. It's a hack of hacks.
Hashtag girl math.
Girl math. That's boy math right there. I don't know what that is. It's something math. I think the reason why because my mom, ironically, this is kind of interesting. My mom loves to get things from Amazon. Nothing wrong with that, obviously. No. Loves to collect things. She has like these little mugs she collects and everything. But I'll take photos, and if it'll be like a photo that's maybe a video that's not like, you know, the best photo, she'll be like, oh yeah, just delete it. Save some space. I'm like, but it doesn't take up that much space. So it's like, I get where the maximists are coming in, and I totally understand it. I guess for me, it's like, it's not taking up too much space.
It's difference of opinions, right?
Yeah.
So like your mom, her parents were children of the Depression.
Yeah.
So your mom learned from people who were from the Depression, just like you must save everything because you never know when it's going to come.
Yeah.
You're a kid of
abundance,
where like we had everything, no issue.
Oh, we had enough.
We had enough. Okay, we had enough, no issue.
Yeah.
But you didn't need to like hoard and save. That's why like we have this booming business of a bunch of storage units.
Yeah.
It's not our generation that's retaining those. It's the baby boomers generation that's retaining those because they feel that there's not enough. But you have a different standpoint as to where it comes down to digital things as we need to keep them, where I'm kind of more in the middle of like, I delete photos constantly.
Yeah.
Like If I have 6 photos of the same thing, 5 of those are getting deleted.
I get that.
There's going to be just one of them left, and I get to remember that one.
Okay.
I just think it's interesting. Yeah, I find it very interesting.
Yeah.
But this all kind of comes down to the mindfulness practices. And I'm not here to say you're right or I'm wrong or our audience member is right or they're wrong, but
it's just for a conversation.
But this is where meditation like really can come in to ask like, what is right for me? Because I can't tell you what's right for you. I can't say, oh, you should only have 5 photos at every vacation. Like you might think I'm fucking crazy.
Yeah.
You know, for me, it's probably somewhere like 5, 10 photos. But for you, it sounds like it's 1,000. And where's the middle ground? Somebody could come in and say, you don't need any. Like it's all should be in your head. But that's where, you know, actually meditating on these things and like figuring it out for yourself. And, you know, for me, like there's like having gratitude journaling and like make sure you're focusing on the positive, you know, and just really cultivating presence to reduce your stress.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think that's right on the nail. I think it's right on the nail. Should we get on to segment 5?
Sure. Yeah. So, minimalism and sustainability.
Yes.
Right now, I think we're moving into a time where everyone talks about like sustainability, living with intention, moving in like the green way. Everything needs to be eco-friendly. Minimalism is really the best way that I know of to actually like, so many people like to talk on Instagram. They're like, oh, we're super mindful. Like I drive a Tesla. Like
very much.
I'm great. Like I'm great.
I drive a Prius. I'm saving the world.
I'm saving the world. Yeah. And then they go out and buy like 16 designer handbags.
Gotcha.
Minimalism actually is the thing that like will help stop greenhouse emissions, like will help with these things is by actually purchasing something that with good value and maintaining it and just keeping it and not having to purchase new things. Like that's the issue with fast fashion. There are legitimately companies that will produce a item with labor in the third world country, bring it here to America, sell it for a week, and then if it doesn't sell out, they'll destroy it.
Burn it, yeah. That's where Louis Vuitton, right?
Yeah, they'll cut it up and put it in the streets.
Yeah.
Like there used to shop for seasons and it was hot season and cold season. Now there are 52 cycles of different clothing for every week.
Yikes. That's scary.
Yep.
It's a lot of clothes.
So there's like an environmental impact that you can actually help with minimalism. I'm just trying to like convey like the idea for minimalism.
Yeah.
And I understand that saying to some people like letting go of things can be hard, but you can also say like, but this also helps the environment.
Yeah.
Maybe we can go there.
Maybe that's a selling point.
Yeah.
I could get that. I could see that.
I think it also helps with community and connection too, because when you're like living minimally, you actually start to share things as well. So like me, I don't have all the things in the world. I really don't. So me and my neighbor, we share stuff.
Yeah.
Sometimes. And like it creates more connection. Like I get to talk to my neighbor about things.
Yeah.
And he gets to talk to me about things.
Yeah.
Because I have things that he doesn't have. He has things that I don't have.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Rather than us both going and buying leaf blowers, he just uses mine. And then every so often when I have to use the edger, I use his.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah, so we get to create like a community thing. So
I like that.
And it definitely helps with also a sense of belonging, a sense of culture around the area, but more importantly, it helps with our financial independence because we're not going out and purchasing the same exact things.
Makes sense. It'd be nice if there was like community garage. We just have
there are community garages.
all the tools and everything you might need.
Yeah, like think of the public library.
Yeah.
That is honestly what a public library is.
Yeah, we need one of those for like tools.
They have those.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Where?
Go on Facebook, Go on Facebook. You can find them. They have community garages.
Never heard of that.
Yeah, you have to like check them out and everything.
Yeah, that's interesting. I did not know about that.
Yeah, but next thing I want to talk about is this is releasing on April 1st. So I want to talk about the packing party that I do every January, and I'm going to be doing again this year. So hopefully you'll do this with me and leads us to our action step.
Okay.
I think that we've tried to convey to the best of our ability that having more items often doesn't add to more happiness, despite what all the marketing says, despite what everyone might think. Every time that you purchase something, you realize that, oh, it didn't fill the hole of emptiness inside of me.
No.
So what I'm going to be doing for April is a packing party. We're on day 1, the first day of April, I'm going to get rid of 1 thing. Day 2, 2 things. Day 3, 3 things. Day 4, 4 things. In order to show myself, in order to show the world that your items do not need to own you. You don't need to have more than you think you need. And actually letting go of those items can be extremely freeing. When you have those items sitting in your house, it's going to be hard to think like, oh, the moment that I have to take it to Goodwill or wherever it is and they're gone, it's going to be hard. But the moment you're driving away, you feel so much lighter knowing that those things are gone. So I'm going to be doing a packing party, and our action step is I hope that you would join me in decluttering your home and ideally your lives. So I would say start with one corner of your room and try to get rid of as much as you can and see how much you can add to your life through subtraction of items.
Interesting. Yeah, I think that's a good action step. I think it's very interesting. I like that. I like that. You find it hard when it gets to like the 28th day, the 29th?
Well, the reason I like the packing party is that it builds that muscle up. So if I told you, Dominic, I need you to go find 500 items in your house, I need you to get rid of 500 items right now.
Yeah.
You'd be like, no.
I'd be like, crap.
Yeah, I can't do it.
I'd be like, this is one chip. Yeah, I can do it. This is a second chip.
Yeah, I'll get rid of a few bags of popcorn and we're good. But if you started off with like, I'm getting rid of one thing today, that's easy. 2 things, easy. 3 things, easy. But you're building that muscle so that when you are getting to days 20, 22, 23, 24, it gets easier to find things that you realize like, oh, those things actually, they don't bring in me as much joy as I thought they did.
No.
And the emotional resonance that I'm putting on them has nothing to do with really anything. It's more of a me problem.
Absolutely. Yep. Well, yeah, I think that's it for our pod today.
Yeah, you want to close this out?
Yeah. Thank you for joining us on today's Minimalist Money Mastery episode with the Fi Guys. We hope you found this inspiration and practical guide to our minimalist lifestyle. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast for future episodes featuring expert reviews, success stories, and actionable tips for mastering your finance and living with purpose. Until next time, embrace the simplicity and pursue abundance, and continue striving towards your financial goals and intentionality and joy.
Thank you so much. And remember the fee for the show. Go ahead and tell a friend about the Fi Guys if you found any value today.
Yeah.
I hope you did. And remember, like minimalism, if this isn't for you, that's totally cool. Just trying to show you guys a different way to convey with the world.
Exactly. Later, guys.
Later.
Peace.
This video podcast is sponsored by Monzon Wealth. The content in this podcast is for informational purposes only and should not be considered financial advice. We do not endorse specific products or services. Past performance does not guarantee future results. The opinions expressed are those of the hosts and guests, not the podcast sponsor.
It is crucial to consult with a qualified financial advisor or professional who can provide advice tailored to your specific needs before making any financial decisions, investments, or taking any other actions. If you are seeking specified help, you can reach out to Chris at monzonwealth.com.